What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of our weekend review. I missed one last week, and I have a reason for that. We're going to talk about it later. But anyways, I missed the last weekend review. I feel really bad about it because this series was actually funded by the Patreon backers. So there are people who monthly donate money to the channel to get new content, new things. And so anyways, this is one of the little tiers that we hit. And obviously, I messed up last week. I feel really guilty about it, but if you've never seen this series before, essentially I sit down and I just talk about the operational stuff going on at the channel. We sit down and we talk about each of the series that I have running, the things in the foreground that I like about them, the things in the background, a little bit of developer commentary right there, I guess, for the channel. And then we talk about where things are going, where I expect things to change, and where I think things need improvement, and where things are a lot of fun. It's a cool series. It's not necessarily one that's meant to entertain, but at the same time, it's still a lot of fun for me because it lets me get some things off my head, because when I'm in that mode and I'm doing an episode, I can't necessarily talk about the stuff that I can talk about in this video right here. And so anyways, it's always a pleasure to have you back. Welcome on in. So let's talk about the things that are going on. A lot of new faces at the channel right now. A lot of new faces at the channel, and we're going to be rotating content quite a bit over the course of the next week or two, just to try and stay fresh. A lot of the games we have are like casual games that you probably don't want to do like 40 episodes of, but at the same time, I wanted them to have a presence on the channel because they are good games. And sometimes for some of these little games, my exposure is what like makes them actually get enough copies sold to keep making games and keep like things patched and stuff like that. And so when I find an indie game that I feel like is not getting enough attention, I really try to put it on the channel just so people will know about it, or at least so it'll be inside their sphere of reference, so they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember I heard something about that game back in the day. Maybe I'll click the buy button today, or something like that. Because I do think that indie promotion is a tough thing. I'm in contact with a lot of indie developers and stuff like that, and the struggle is real on that front. It's so real. The struggle is mega real. And so anyways, let's talk about some of the series we got going on at the channel. I think the ogre in the room right now is obviously Total Warhammer. I'm having a lot of fun with the game. I see public interest kind of dwindling on it, but that's okay. I'm going to play at least until we wipe out the dwarves is kind of what I'm leaning towards. I'm thinking that's going to be my cutoff point for the series, because after that point, we're going to be pushing our way to the northwest. We're going to be fighting with the border princes, and it's going to get sloggy, because you'll find in the next couple episodes, the Empire has been consolidating all of their territories. Like, everything is becoming part of the Empire, from Kislev over to Ostermark. Everything is just becoming confederated with the Empire right now, and they are becoming the boogeyman of the map at the moment. Now, we're in a very, very good position in that playthrough, because they are basically taking the brunt of the Chaos attack whenever it happens, and that is weakening them, and it's putting them in a rough position. It's going to force them to have to fight in two directions when we come up from the south to get them. But at the same time, I'm still having a lot of fun with the game. I'm finding that the dwarves are putting up a great fight. I recorded another batch of episodes today right before doing this video, and the entire episode was just us resolving conflict with the dwarves. I pushed to the south, I pushed to the north. I'm trying to get rid of that little tumorous, cancerous area in the middle of our territory with Kazakh or whatever it is, and it's rough. Now, the dwarves do seem weakened right now. They aren't doing so well. In fact, they're only really surviving because of their allies who came to their aid rather quickly, but you'll find out about that in the future. So far, a lot of people have been asking me about Total Warhammer and whether or not I like it, and my answer is actually yes. I'm not a Total War fan. I have not liked previous Total War games for a very, very long time, and I've found that with Total Warhammer, the nice thing is the game becomes a little bit repetitive. That's always been my problem with Total War, is that you spend so much time on the battle map that it's just like, well, you can only fight so many fights with your little, legates all over the place, and your little centurions and all that kind of stuff. Like with Rome Total War 2, or with Total War Rome 2, I found that I got burned out on the battles very quickly, because you spend so much time just fighting battles over and over and over again, and you don't really see the topography change all that much. You can spend an hour and a half setting up like the ambush to take over two little territories, and then quickly suing for peace so you don't get hit back and stuff like that. And so anyways, it lacks the intrigue. I would love to see somebody combine the combat system of that with the intrigue and the other stuff that you got going on in a game like, oh, I don't know, Crusader Kings or something like, because that would add like a whole new layer that was just like, whoa. I love the combat in Total War, but I have the tendency to burn it out. And so anyways, the fights are going well, but we've got to consolidate our position on the map, because we just have little pockmarks of enemy resistance inside of our territory, and it needs to be dealt with. The dwarves are weakened right now, but they're still putting up a fight, and I found that actually they've gotten most of the way up their tech tree now, and so they're starting to field like battle tanks and like helicopters and all kinds of stuff that are very difficult to deal with in mass numbers. The only fight that we've dealt with so far where they had the helicopters or anything else has been that one little storyline battle, and that wasn't so bad. It's just that once they have like 5 units of gyrocopters that are dropping bombs on you and artillery, it's just like, ah! It gets so chaotic that they become a challenging foe that can definitely array themselves in a lot of different ways, and the orcs are weak to them. Like, in an infantry battle, the orcs get beaten by the dwarves, hands down. If they bring a lot of air force, you get beaten, hands down. If they bring a lot of artillery, and you don't bring a lot of cavalry, you get beaten, hands down. Like, they have so many strong points that it's very, very difficult to fight them as a faction. And in fact, I think they might be a little bit overtuned right now compared to a lot of the other factions. But you got to use your Wog smart. If you use your Wog smart, I think it's winnable. And I have a couple good moments with my Wog as we go through our playthrough. But so far, I like Total War. We'll probably go until we defeat everything on our little area right there on the map. We get rid of the dwarves, and then we basically make it to that little, I forget the name of the ocean right there. But once we square off with the Border Princes and the Empire, I'll probably make a judgment call as to whether or not we want to keep going with the series. That'll probably be the break-off point. I only tell you because I'm giving you time to emotionally accept what's going to happen so that, you know, one day you don't wake up and find that you don't have any orc gameplay. I'm just letting you know. Just throwing it out there. So anyways, Slime Rancher. Slime Rancher actually kind of surprised me because it's a good game, but Slime Rancher hasn't changed that much. I gave it a couple months, and I was hoping they'd have a couple thick content patches out by right now, but it appears to be the case that they've added like some minor stuff, but it doesn't seem like it was quite ready, and I feel like I may have jumped the gun on that one. Speaking of which, jumping the gun, what is up with that saying? Like, you jumped over your own gun? Or did you, like, jump over their gun, like, luchador style, and, like, tackle them? Like, whose gun are you jumping over, and why are you at gunpoint? But anyways, I think I jumped the gun on it. I think we did the series a little bit early. I still love the game. I still think it's a great game. I still think it should definitely hazard a purchase for most people. But it still feels a little content light to me. And so I'm a little bit disappointed. Not with the game itself, just with the fact that I kind of made a series too soon to follow up on it. And I could have, the other games that I was thinking about doing instead were Subnautica. The other games that I was thinking about doing instead were like The Long Dark, doing some challenge gameplay, or playing with the game in a high difficulty like Stalker Survival Mode or something like that. And so anyways, I feel like I made the wrong call, and I've been feeling a little bit guilty about it. Not super guilty, but still at the same time, I feel like I could have made a better judgment call right there, and so that's got me a little bit down. Still, we've probably got about 6 more episodes of Slime Rancher before we hit the content wall, and we just go bonk and bounce off of it, and there's nothing else to do. I still think the game is great. I still think it's really well polished, so please don't take this as bitching. I still think the game is fantastic. It's just it doesn't have enough content left for moi. And so anyways, I'll probably try to put that together. It'll probably end next week. And the things that I'm looking at to replace it are probably Space Run Galaxy, which I'm going to have a weekly indie newcomer going up this week. We may do Steam World Heist, although I'm a little bit on the fence about that one. Don't know if I want to. I don't know. I don't have things lined up at the moment that I'm totally sure on. I was also playing around with the idea of another Mountain Blade playthrough because we're getting towards the summer. And so I think we've got a spot for a long-running series, although I may replace Warhammer with that. I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'm giving you my options right now, kind of spitballing with stuff as we go along, trying to figure out what I want to do with our organization and what, because there's not a lot of games coming out right now, so this is a great time for us to revisit other stuff and make little side series and things of that nature. There are going to be some fun little indie games popping in, but I don't know what the breadth of those games are going to be until I get my hands on it and I start playing them, and so I don't want to dedicate to anything just yet as far as that's concerned. We may have a Metro Last Light Redux playthrough coming through pretty soon because we did play the first game. I really like Metro. Metro is a lot of fun. I love the setting. I love the universe. I love the world building and the narrative, and so anyways, we might hit that up. There's a lot of things coming over the summer that I think are not necessarily going to be heavy hitters as far as search traffic or anything like that, but they should be a lot of fun because I will be in the game playing it purely for the focus of, like, my enjoyment. Like, I'm not doing this to do a series. I'm playing the game because I feel like playing it and turning on a camera is easy, and that's what I'm going to do with it anyways. And so Turmoil is the next one up on the block. Turmoil is an interesting little casual game. I'm always the kind of person that shits on casual games because I want there to be more depth, more focus, more challenge, and stuff like that. Like, I don't like to run out of content in a game, and yet Turmoil does a great job at being casual while at the same time having enough content to keep you interested, and that's one of the things that I very much like about it. I think that as far as the game is concerned, they've got a good thing going, and I'm glad that I got a chance to show it off on the channel, because one of the big things that happened is when the game first came out in early access, I didn't get a chance to show the game off. It was just in early access, and that was that, and then I missed the window, and it was like, ah, well, I'll hit it when 1.0 comes around, and I'm very, very pleased that this time around I got to show off the game, because Turmoil, it's got a lot of interesting mixes of gameplay mechanics that I like a lot. Between the drilling and everything like that, I love mining games. I've been playing mining games since I was like 3 and 4 years old on my dad's old DOS computer and stuff like that, or the Apple IIe, where you would dig downwards and look for gems and bring them back up, and you would pay money for upgrades to your pickaxe and stuff like that. It's a very old concept, but it still rings true, and it still manages to be very, very entertaining. I love looking for hidden treasure and then bringing it up to the surface and then defeating all those other oil mongers at their own game, being like, ah, bitch, I've taken all of your shiny black shit. It's now mine. I declare it mine. Hoopa. And so anyways, Turmoil, if you haven't checked the game out, I do recommend it. The point of this series is to shine light and talk about the things that I like about series that I might not have a time to talk about while I'm actively playing the game, because then I'm doing my whole shtick of trying to be entertaining, all that kind of stuff, or just, you know, keeping people in the seats. And with Turmoil, it's a game that surprised me. I picked it up and I expected it to be overrated, and I was surprised to find that the game was a lot of fun. So if you haven't had a chance to play it yet, I do recommend it. It's one of those ones that actually, it's very, very rare that I can give you a 100% go for it. But if you like those sorts of games, it's the one that I would shoot for next. It'll kill a good 10 hours for you before you get bored with it. I've done about 2 playthroughs now, and I still went back and started over from scratch and tried to do better. I'm still getting achievements and stuff like that for becoming more efficient at the game. And so there is a lot of stuff there to enjoy. There really sincerely is, and I do highly recommend it. Other stuff we got going on the channel right now, Wasted. Wasted is another sleeper hit for me. I was really, really surprised with Wasted at how entertaining the game actually turned out to be. And now, on the front end, you know the game is going to be funny because it's already from Adult Swim. And if you don't know what Adult Swim is, here in the United States, there's this thing on Cartoon Network that's up at like 1 in the morning where they play like these underground indie cartoons and kind of the stuff you would never see on a major network, and they give it a little bit of shine. Stuff with Tim and Eric and all those sorts of guys. And the shows are always undeniably, they're sometimes hit or miss, but they're definitely experimental, and they're trying to be funny in new ways, and they're being funny in odd ways that you've never thought of before. And so whenever I get an Adult Swim game, I assume it's going to be badass, and it's going to be super funny at the bare minimum. And Wasted, I love it. I love the fact that they've taken the Fallout formula, they've condensed it to going down into dungeons, looking for shiny shit, and just making it very, very streamlined, very, very fast, very frenetic, constantly things trying to kill you, murder you, always looking for new loot, and at the same time giving you funny little quests like looking for merkins for, you know, Richard Nixon's dick and all kinds of random stuff. And so anyways, such an entertaining game, so much fun. If you've ever wondered what Fallout might be like if you basically got rid of all the extraneous stuff like wandering around a world map and you just turn it into a roguelike dungeon crawler first-person shooter, I think Wasted is about as close as you're going to get to that, and it's absolutely salted with humor. The thing is hilarious. It really had me rolling. You guys will find in the next couple episodes, I sit there and I laugh while dialogue is going on in the background because I can't hold it in. Normally I can hold it in and just be like, all right, but they've got some dialogue in that game that is absolutely just ruthlessly funny. And so if you haven't checked out Wasted, just go get it. If you like first-person shooters and roguelikes, oh man, it's a game. It is a game. Doom ended. I was pretty pleased with the ending of Doom. It ended about the way that I expected it to. When you work for a big giant robot disembodied soul inside of a machine body, you've got to assume that he's gonna betray you at some point. He's got almost no choice. He was the bad guy from the beginning, I could tell. And so anyways, I really enjoyed the ending of the game. I thought that it definitely set it up for a sequel or at least some DLCs. I found the boss. The final boss was challenging enough. He took me 4 or 5 tries to get him down. I was playing the game on ultra violent, so there was a little bit of extra challenge right there. I'd like to go back through and play on Nightmare, but I don't think it'll ever happen here on the channel. I may just do it for my own entertainment. But I liked it a lot. I found the game to be really, really entertaining. I was primed to be disappointed about it because I've been a lifelong Doom fan since I was a little kid. Wolfenstein and Doom, and it has just done some weird work over the last 10 years or so with Rage and some of the other really, really sketchy games that they've put out that we're like almost there but not quite. Like with Rage, you could tell that if it had like another year to be worked on, it would have been a really badass game, but it didn't, and so it wasn't. And so like you could appreciate certain aspects of Rage, but at the same time there was the undeniable feeling that this was just not a finished product that got pushed out the door because they knew they had a lot of pre-orders and the publisher just wanted it out right now. I'm happy to report that you don't have that problem with the newer Wolfenstein games, and you don't have the problem since they were acquired by Bethesda. It seems like their quality control has gone up quite a bit. And I'm happy to say, like I told people before the game even came out, that if they take the Wolfenstein mechanics and they just transpose that into a Doom world, they'll be fine, because Wolfenstein was badass. New Order and New Blood were super. Old Blood, New Order, whatever. Both the games were super sick, and I enjoyed the hell out of them from the front to the end. And so anyways, it was really, really cool seeing them take that formula and then mix it into a Doom universe where the mechanics are necessarily a little bit different, and they definitely took it in an old school direction that I didn't expect either, where you're constantly scrounging for secrets and looking for other cool stuff along the way. And so I was pleased with it. All around, I would give the game a fantastic score. There were little things here and there that were annoying, but those were all on a recording end. Those had nothing to do with the game itself. It had to do with the fact that the game just hates recording software, and it made things frustrating for me on the back end, but that's not even something that I would bring up in a review because it's irrelevant. If the game is good, most people aren't going to be recording it, so I'm not even going to include that. But yeah, I thought the game was fantastic. I've seen a lot of reviews about it that I think are really unfair, and it really makes me wonder whether people have vested interest in burning the game down or something, because, I don't know. It seemed perfectly fine to me as a Doom fan, as somebody who still plays Doom 1 and Doom 2 on a fairly frequent basis. Like, I boot it up every year to 2 years and beat it again. I was pleased all the way through. I was pleased as pie, and it was great to see an intellectual property get kind of, I guess, retooled, smoothed out, and made modern. And so I'm happy about it. I really have nothing else to say. The stream has been blowing up lately. Oh my god, the stream has been just crazy. I don't even know how to bring it up here, but the stream is doing very, very well. We've gone from having like 90 viewers a night to having like 400 viewers a night, like standard installed. Firmly, I mean, it's weird going from being like a smaller Twitch channel to being like in the top 5% within the course of like a month, 2 months, but I'm tremendously thankful for it. So if you haven't stopped by the stream, please check it out. It's twitch.tv/SplatterCatGaming. I've been doing my best to move the VODs over here to YouTube to make people aware, and that appears to be helping out as well. Just doing some promotion for the thing that we have here seems to be doing a good job at getting it going. People have been so generous, though, with their tips and their subscriptions and their donations and all that kind of stuff, that really I have no words for all of you. So a tremendous thank you to everybody that's come out and supported me over the last 2 months. It has been shaky for me in real life. I don't want to go too much into my own problems right now, but we are going to talk about it after we get done with the rest of the series talk. But I've got things going on in the real world right now that have really been keeping me from YouTube and hitting it wholeheartedly, where it's just like, I'm in a weird place right now, and the stream, I'm constantly impressed with the way you guys pick me up and make me feel better every single day when I go out there. Sometimes I go and I stream, and I'm on the edge, like I'm barely hanging in there for the day, and by the end you've got me smiling and joking and laughing and having a good time, so it was very, very cool of you. If you didn't check out Black Sea Odyssey, I highly recommend that you do so. Black Sea Odyssey was the weekly indie newcomer from last week. It's a game about space pirates, space pirate Vikings who hunt creatures and rip parts of their bodies off, and then you make money by collecting bounties on these giant, you're on a space surfboard, a la the Silver Surfer, and you've got like cohorts who are also hunting monsters, and you're like friends, but you're competing with them, so there's trash talk, and there's all that kind of stuff. It's utterly ridiculous. It was a lot of fun, though. I've only spent like an hour with the game so far, but I enjoyed my time with it. Definitely go check out that first impressions video if you haven't just yet. I've been trying to actually build that up because I see the channel going in that direction in the future, where I'm just going to do a lot more impressions videos and a lot less LPs in the way that I'm doing them right now. I would love to get down to like 2 LPs a day and then just do 3 impression videos a week instead of doing like the one that I'm doing in the 4 LPs and stuff like that. I'd like to diminish my workload a little bit and focus a tiny bit more on Twitch. I'm not leaving YouTube or anything like that, so keep that in mind. But I've talked about this in the past. I've talked about it in stream. We don't have to hit on it again. I feel like most people know where the channel is kind of shifting towards right now. Whether or not it's all going to work depends. I mean, I'm waiting until the end of the summer to pull the trigger on anything permanently. But for right now, that's kind of what I'm eyeballing. The Banner Saga ended. Fantastic game, fantastic ending. I'm glad that they went for the Empire Strikes Back ending. I talked about that when I was in the I guess the outro credits or whatever. But I had a real feeling that they were going to hit you with a big battle at the end that was very challenging, and they weren't going to answer any questions. And I like the way that they went for the entire party. Just, well, if you haven't seen the game yet, the ending's good. I don't want a spoiler here. I don't want to have to put spoiler tags all over everything, so I'm going to avoid doing that. But just be aware, if you didn't watch the ending and you watched the rest of the series, you're missing out, because I was very, very pleased about the way that it resolved. It was an understated, quiet ending. The game went out with a murmur, but not the kind of murmur that's like you would complain about. It's the type of murmur that would be expected when everything is going wrong, the world is ending, and things are falling apart. There was no, huge catastrophic event here. It was very much kind of a Coen Brothers type ending where bad shit happens and you deal with the outcome of bad shit, and that's how life works. And I'm happy to have played it here on the channel. I know people didn't necessarily like the series very much. It was unpopular from the beginning, but I had a lot of fun with it, and that's all that I can really ask for here on the channel. As for a series that I'm looking at right now, where things are going to be going in the future, I'm definitely thinking about a couple of things. There are some indie games in the future that I'm looking at. I don't want to spoil too much because I want it to be a surprise. I've already talked about Mountain Blade and The Long Dark and Subnautica are all on the list right now. There are quite a number of things, RimWorld being a big one that I wanted to get into too. I have been putting in a couple of hours of RimWorld a week just to get used to the game mechanics and kind of get used to the flow and the way that I want to play the game, because we are going to be doing another series on that. Not sure when we're going to have time to do another series on it, but I am excited about the prospects of doing another series. I do think people are going to hate my gameplay, so I'm probably going to put a warning on it just like I did when I did Total Warhammer. Just be like, if you're looking for good gameplay, this is not it. You're not going to make it. Go somewhere else. Go watch Blitz's channel or something, because I suck at this game. But it will be funny, and we will probably get murdered by non-threatening creatures. So if you're down for that, stick it on out. Roll for it. Roll for it is still running if you haven't seen it. I haven't been backing up the VODs because there's technical issues on my end, and it's just time-consuming to fix it, and I just flat out don't have the time. And so I've been trying to get the time. I have all the files arranged, and I've been trying to edit them down one by one to get them into some semblance of like a concurrent project. But you know how Twitch VODs can be. They can just be a nightmare, and in this fact they are. If you wanted to go watch them, you should go see them on Enter Elysium's channel. He's got them all backed up over there, and that's probably the most consistent place that you can keep up with the story and just like binge watch that shit if you really, really want to. Roll For It is still going. If you haven't seen it, twitch.tv/Roll For It, ROLL number 4, it, all one word. It's basically a weekly D&D group or Shadowrun group. I said D&D because people recognize it better, but we play Shadowrun once a week for 5 hours straight. It's a lot of fun. It's me, Shenmue, Avik, Steejo, and Enter Elysium. I was really, I don't do collabs very often, and I've been so pleased with the way that this has turned out. We're up to like 800 viewers a stream now, which means it's blowing up like crazy too. So a lot of things are on the up and up right now, and it forces me to kind of move things around with the rest of my operations, because when something is successful, you kind of want to focus on that more. I think it's natural to want to focus more heavily. And so anyways, I would welcome you all to come and watch our exploits. I am the driver. I'm the rigger. My job is to drive people around. I'm also a street samurai, so I've got machine guns and I've got gat. And I'm surprisingly dodgy. I'm like a dwarvish ninja. Nothing ever hits me. They try, but nothing ever sticks. They try to kill me, but they always fail. It's a lot of fun, and seriously, we have a blast doing it. We spend a lot of time planning it every single week for your entertainment. So feel free to stop on in. It's a blast. Things are going great with that, and I highly recommend it. I would watch it personally. If I was not part of it, I would watch it just because it's turned out to be a lot more fun than I expected. So anyways, get on that. As for the things that I wanted to talk about on the back end, you may have noticed that I've been a little bit slower lately. I've been a little bit more sluggish, and I haven't been keeping up with things quite as well. I have a lot of health issues in real life, and I don't really want to go into it too much because, frankly, I have no diagnosis. But be aware, I've just been kind of in and out of doctor's offices and ERs and stuff like that for the last 4 or 5 months or so, actually. And I've been waiting to actually talk about it because I have nothing to tell you. I've been a healthy person my entire life. I've never had any sort of chronic illness. I've never dealt with anything like this before. And so anyways, since about February, I have just been assailed by just random things going wrong with my health, and they all seem to be linked to a central issue. I'm working with doctors to try and get it sorted out. But if you notice, like, some days that I seem really, really tired and really, really off, just be aware that I am taking a beating in real life right now, and I'm doing my best to put on a fresh face and fight through it. But this is not a situation that I'm used to. This is not phenomena that I've ever dealt with before, and so it is fundamentally rearranging the way that I'm living my life right now, and that's kind of a scary thing for me. So anyways, that's going to be the end of our weekend review. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to talking with you in 2 weeks. Stop back again then. I'm sure we'll have something fresh up. Next week, we're going to be getting rid of a couple series, bringing in a couple of new series, and I think you're going to like what we've got on offer. I will see you all later. Thanks for stopping in, everybody. The summer is here. Enjoy your free time off. I know people are scrambling to get finals and stuff done right now. Good luck, and I will see you during your free time, all right? Bye, everybody.